Take it away.
You know, I have a feeling that I have a small hunch that FIFA kills somewhere in the top 3 in that leaderboard. Just the smallest hunch possible. But I think, Lucky, you bring up a very important point where a lot of trios, a lot of teams, this has been a consistent theme from weeks 1 to now. It takes a couple of games to get going. Games 1 and 2, finding your rhythm, finding your footing, letting the personality of the team shine through. 3, 4, and 5 is like the momentum swing in a tournament. It's like, all right, this is where we need to really put on our best foot. And then 6, 7, 8 is where you start to panic if you're low in the rankings, or you try to solidify your spot if you're right within top 4. It's going to take some time for our teams to get warmed up.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm glad he mentioned the matches 6, 7, and 8. It's like if you're not in the top 5, you almost start to play even like reckless. Like, okay, we got to get the kills, go kills, and that's kind of your mindset changes so drastically, and it's like an all or nothing kind of mindset. So I mean, it'll be different to see how the games play out from 1 to 4, 4 to 5, and then 6 to 8. But yeah, we'll see how it all plays out. And FIFA here, it's gonna see where they land. I didn't know where they landed first off. So it's all right. University. They're fighting Gary and Scummin as well to the left.
Well, this is a team that, if you're just joining us, took home the first place finish in about 10 minutes prior in game 1, 23 eliminations to their name. This is also a spot we saw religiously favored from Huskerrs, from Joewo. They love going to University. So whether or not this is the precedent being set forward for a lot of our early aggressive teams, yet to be seen. But for the teams that favor the altitude game, you're looking at the Huskerrs of the world, the FIFA kills, you're looking at the Tommies, the TVEs of the world. This is a power position. This is a hot drop for them. And now it just comes down to, again, putting up eliminations on the board. So when you start to rotate late in the middle of these zones, you have those kills to back you up when the multiplier kicks in. But to start, I mean, this is kind of what we expect. Get a couple eliminations, find a couple of teams that you can lock down, and use your ARs in the hands of FIFA Kill to not only clean up that info, but to secure it, move on to it, and potentially take more gunfights on the way.
Yeah, there goes FIFA for the first knock again on Knight. So they're kind of like battling back and forth, but that ping... Yeah, listen to those comms coming from FIFA. They're already calling him out, letting him know he has loadout, he's underneath them, because anytime you get an elimination, for those of you at home who don't know, anytime you get an elimination and a full wipe on a squad, you actually get those pings of the enemy team's remaining players on that squad on the map. So you can call that out to your teammates like, hey, there's a player here, or they're pushing us from this direction. So it's always good to get those full kills. That's exactly what we're going to see FIFA do. But now on board here, seeing how they do Vortex. They're going to be taking Mall. And for those of you also who don't know, this is the spot on the map that has the most cash. So this is the fastest way to get lowdown. Look at them in hands. They already have that.
Just listening to the comms, just very calm, cool, collected across the board. This is not a team that's waver too much when things get dicey, specifically Vortex, who has had a really impressive career across the board, even looking back to his competitive days. I mean, this is not a player you want to take lightly on any gunfight. Now flying onto one more, dipping and diving, but not going to run for long. There's another big cleanup, trying to turn and burn on the second, but he will have to dip out of dodge and already getting tagged. I think it's Mayapa who went down, it was. But to start things off, just already seeing a little bit of awkward gunfights from some of our top teams.
Yep, and there we got a leaderboard update on the side of your screen. Team FIFA with 34.5 points leading in first. Huskerrs not too far behind. 20.4. Noobs with 19.8. Joe with 19.5. And then fifth is 19.2. So honestly, like not even a point difference from fifth through second. It's going to be close up until about game 5. And then we'll start to see the teams start to take their, placements and where they're at. And you'll still see changes. But I mean, a point difference is kind of insane from second through fifth.
Oh, yeah. And let's remember that Biffle, again, the #1 team in this tournament, got top 14. And the reason they're sitting in around 8th place is because of the amount of eliminations they got. So it's not just about where you place in the game. It's also about how many kills you're able to rack on up. Speaking of awkward challenge, and gets punished. Unrational takes down both. It was a 1v2 gunfight, and he found both kills to boot. That is a tough way to win.
Wow. Now we're going to see a little bit of a different gameplay here. Huskerrs with the MCPR sniper in hand and the ISO. And what I think Huskerrs is actually doing here is he's not picking up his loadout, and he's going to go ahead and buy one of his weapons. He's going to stay back, sit at sniper top University, and just kind of go for picks as his teammates potentially start to, play a little bit more aggressive than him. And this is a good strat because let's just say, right, Donnie pushes and he dies. He can immediately land back on the loadout box and continuously get that as long as Huskerrs doesn't pick it up. So this is a great strat. We'll see a lot of players do. We saw it back in the days on Rebirth Island as well as Fortune's Keep. But I think it shines a little bit more on the map size of Vondel, being 72 players, obviously double or even triple the size of our original map. So we'll start to see this kind of strat shine a little bit more. And honestly, for me at least, first time in a bit actually seeing it being used today.
It's a great point to bring up. That's a crucial factor for a player like Huskerrs on this team where we know that you can only have one snipe per squad. So this investment makes sense, right? Going to let him use the sniper, take that out of the pockets of everybody else on the trio. If something goes wrong, you have the loadout drop to fall back on when you come back on respawn. You trust your teammates on the opposite wing to pick up kills as well.
Yeah, now he'll do just that. Looks like his teammates are also, University is probably one of the hardest places to, I guess you could say, hold down. You got to play very spread out. So, but when you have a team of this caliber, you know, everyone having their own skill set, great gunny, you could, you know, trust them to hold out different areas on top of University. You got Dongy over on the far back left. You got here Solidify on the right. So, and then Huskerrs just overseeing anything towards the center of the zone, and you're not going to see too much action from the squad, it looks like, probably for another zone or two, because everybody seems to be in their spots, right? No one's rotating into them just yet.
Yeah, I mean, you have your exit strategies bountiful and plenty everywhere inside University if you need to escape. Speaking of, over to Breadman, running the snipe as well, Lockman in hand, but so tagged, so weak, will not be able to escape through the zone, and the smoke will not do enough to cover him out. So Joewo, over to his POV. Very, very dangerous spot to be in the water, but we've seen more and more teams favor the water for kind of early game rotations, knowing that it's a tough spot to be in. You get it out of the way now, you can kind of catch teams by surprise, but he's already got 2 players down. He has to be careful. Just got to survive one more second. Will he duke it? Yep, he got it. All right, now he's fine.
I mean, he even might make out of this, Joe. Oh, he's going out of combat. Wrong way, Joe. Wrong way.
The entire side of the map's red. You don't go there. Just go to the other side.
Oh man, all right, just gonna actually make it out impressive out of him. He's got the Cronin and pistol, which is honestly not a bad loadout to have, especially when, you know, you're sitting in the water and the only weapon you can use in it is gonna be the pistol. But Joe's gonna slow down his gameplay, let his teammates kind of like see where they can land, and if they die again, Joe will play that anchor role and letting them spawn back once more. But keep in mind, the team we were on board with just a second ago, Huskerrs, is top University. Joe's got to be careful not to row into them in the next couple seconds here.
Close to 7,000 in cash. You have a bit. The resources are not too dry, but Limax does fall. Breadman is entirely too weak to take another gunfight. Joewo is out of the play. I mean, he's the only player currently on an island of this trio that is so far removed, so he has information we do not at the moment.
You know,
I think he's still hunting.
I was going to say, it's not even just about staying alive. I think Joe's doing a phenomenal job at that, but it's also like, look at all the kills they're missing out on. Yeah, they'll make it end game, like you mentioned before, like, you know, 5, 10 kills. You got to shoot for the 15 and 20.
So for a team like this, right, like a team that is so clearly great on rotation, you look at Breadman, one of the harder players to kill when it comes to like locking him down in a 1v1 when you're taking a team fight at range. Breadman is an annoying player to play against in all the right ways. What is maybe the strategy going through their minds at the moment of, we want to take minimal gunfights, play for endgame? Is that what they're going for? Because they really have been avoiding a lot of engagements.
Yeah, I think in a position they're in right now, they're definitely going to have to slow it down and just play the end game and say, hey, let's just get decent points on the board for this game, be consistent with it, and not fall early. Juki's going to go to 18th place right there. Natasha going to be sitting bottom University. This is where Huskerrs are at, so we might see a clash of these two teams here in a moment. But yeah, with Joe's team, slow it down, just get decent points on the board. You're not shooting for first place. And if they do, they do. I mean, that's obviously the end goal, but, you know, as long as they get a couple kills on the board and it's not just a clean wipe for them, I think they'll be fine.
Well, speaking of, Natasha and company, they love to stack. Every time we've seen this trio together, they have been bunched up in similar spots, whether it's been a point of interest or not. They will not be leaving each other's shoulders for long. So if you're going to run into her or her teammates, be prepared for follow-up challenges from an opening sub like Zepti. You have great shots at range from Natasha. I mean, we saw her in a 1v5 back in week 2. I mean, that put everybody on notice in the lobby. This is a squad that loves to stack. Be prepared for the team fight to collapse. We have about under a minute until Zone 3, again, locks in. UAV will help just for information, but a couple of members up on top of University. Now comes the decision of, do we invest and take this gunfight, or do we leave it?
Yeah, and you know, just like you mentioned, having a stack team is high risk, high reward. You might win a couple more gunfights and you might lose, but you lose one, that's it. As soon as one team drops, all of them are going to drop, so it's a little bit more difficult, but again, that's their play style and it's working for them. Definitely keep at it. Hopping on board here with Shifty. 50D is in Sage. Sage is going to be down for the count, but it looks like they have this building uncontested for the time being. Be close to center zone. Teams to the left and right. Got to be careful for the University rooftop, but for the more or less, they can kind of. She's got 5. I want to see what, you know, how much they have as combined right now. Did they hit their kill quota before Resurgence closes? Because for the majority of it, a good chunk of your kills does come endgame.
Yeah. specifically for this squad too, where they're so consistent in putting up multiple team wipes on the board early game that they can just rely on that cushion to push them forward into the multiplier, and then a gunfight or two, a team wipe or two, and they're good enough for a top 3 finish as he gets burned around the corner. So the slow play not favoring Biffle and company to start. I think Biffle might be the only one currently up for that squad. We'll check back with him in a couple of minutes, but back over to Picnic Basket. Of course, Shadow Wagging Company, they had a really strong week 5 last week. Couple opportunities where they fell short. But to start here, in similar spots where FIFA Kill were just a game ago, 2 players down, Lovey and Shadow. I think Shadow's still trying to fight his way forward. Picnic will drop.
Yeah, and Gary going to be one of the last life for his squad. FIFA Kill back on their high ground center zone. This is a team that we saw on Diazbiffle's squad, but we have a jailbreak active. This is about to get crazy.
This is going to be tough. Yeah, pick your poison. Who do you want to shoot at first?
God. I think you kind of just see if anyone jumps on you, because as soon as you take one shot, people will notice that in the sky and be like, all right, let's go for the third party. And then that third party will notice it and be like, all right, let's go for the fourth party. And it becomes a domino effect. So if I'm FIFA, I'm just kind of holding it down and just really just seeing if anyone pushes. Oh my God, yeah, just like that. 40 players still remaining here. Players are floating up in the air. So, you know, it can help squads like Diaz, right? Where he was the last one alive, his teammates can get brought back up. And, you know, are you going for placement here? If you were already doing good on placement, well, now it gets reset. And now you got to try to work your way back up to get those placement points again. So if there's a game, though, to run away with it, it's going to be this game, right? If you're in a good situation, maybe like how Huskerrs was, and they have the sniper, and they're just going for picks and picks and picks. This is a game to get a lot of eliminations on.
He's got more problems to worry about than just who's flying above. He's got 40 in the clip and 8 in the mag. Like, he does not have a lot to work with here. Same situation to the end of game 1 where he ran out of ammo, had to rely on his teammate to help. Right now, he needs an ammo box or something, because any gunfight you take at range, you better hit all of your shots. Everybody's flying into FIFA Kills POV. All 3 pushing, and one member goes down. Oh, 2.
Yeah, that's going to be it. And FIFA has no plates, not just the ammo, but he has no plates as well to work with 3 players on top of him. It looks like it's going to be Huskerrs' squad, who had a little bit of an early rotation from Top University, if they're still there. He'll be underneath them, and FIFA going to go ahead and play a little bit more reserve. Oak's still alive, though, fighting for his life over there while bleeding out. Hopefully, FIFA can get him up and get some help from his teammate here in just a moment. It looks like it's going to be a clean rest for him. And take a look at the next zone. 5th zone closing, going on 6th and 7th. It looks like they're going to be in zone just a slither of or just a slither in. So, I mean, they can hold this area down for a bit, but it's going to be tough for them to close it out.
You got $3,300 to work with. Again, not a lot. We don't bring it up often, but at least with just the investment that was implied in game 1 from this trio, if they do want to start popping UAVs, they're going to have to start finding more cash on the ground. You got a smoke on the cross, so either somebody's late rotating through that pinpoint, or they're using it as a distraction. Just, you got to flip a coin here.
Yeah.
And you can hear he's like, I don't have plates. Like, this is a tough spot to be in.
Bottom floor, second.
Tough spot to be in, indeed. FIFA here trying to just keep the ultimate high ground here. And good for them, though. There's not going to be anyone really contesting their height. There's no other building in there in the zone that can contest them. So if they play their pick smart here, they'll play it slow for this zone and then eventually try to clean stuff up in the 6th closing on 7th. 11 squads still remaining, though, so it looks like their priority here is the placement points.
Probably the best spot to be in, too. I mean, of all the opportunities you've had in this game, or lack thereof, play for placement if you can. But it's an absolute war zone currently. Over back to Joewo, Breadman, and Limax. All 3 are up. That's the best case scenario, but shots at range do not help. The smoke, the cross, into the water. Potentially, no. Thinking twice. Joewo's starting to move. Knows one's in the water. Breadman trying to clean up his sentry in the back. The nades fly out. The zone will work. 1 elimination to his name. Breadman's still looking for the second.
Nades coming from Breadman here. They got to worry about their back to the left as well. Good stun going over him, and that stun's not going to connect. They're kind of just all like bunched up here on this side. Breadman going to take that IGL roll. And they're going to start pushing up on this player on the left-hand side here. Maybe even look for a pistol to take these water fights. One player bottom left of him. Try to get those shots lined up and get a shot from the left from gas.
If you're going to push a gunfight, you got to clean up quickly. That's the #1 rule. Get in, get out, get the kill, move on. Breadman does fall, but he's back into the action. They find one in the gas station. Is it enough? Yes, I think. They might have gotten the down. I think Joewo did clean up Sage. If that is the case, all right, 1 player down from Biffle's squad. 5 eliminations for the moment. Joewo on the move. More shots at range, flying into a gunfight. He was not going to win up close. The Lockman can't do enough. Already tagged. And Breadman has to be careful. He's got nowhere to go.
Getting shot in the back. Got players in front of him inside the building. Gonna go ahead and take the water for some cover here. Looks like there's 2 teams left here, and they're fighting. Limax is calling that out, going in for the third party. A team that we saw struggling at the beginning might be the one to close it out with the eliminations they needed. Limax going for the left-hand side push. Gonna get absolutely obliterated. No place to work with. Breadman trying to get the right inside push as well. Breaking armor on 1. Limax down. Brett trying to close it out. 2v2. Make that 2v3. That's 1. Brett, can he do it? Another player in front of him. 2 jumping too much for Brett to handle, but Spaceman, they were not in the best situation the first game. They got second place with 17 kills. What a regain.
Yeah, for all things considered, man, like the fact that they were able to play the slow push through the water, already getting tagged up, and they escape into the end game, find a second place finish, that is not a bad spot to be in by any stretch. That's actually more impressive than getting top 3 and forcing a lot of gunfights. They were able to move throughout the end game, finally get themselves in a position, and reflections, it really came down to, again, the teamwork as a trio. When other teams were dropping numbers quickly, when it looked like pressure was on FIFA Kill's shoulders, we jump over to Breadman and Joewo. They're moving as a unit, they're cleaning up kills, getting a position, just fighting for end game placement. It worked.
And great to see them doing as well as they have been. You know, they definitely not had the strongest couple of weeks, but Breadman bringing out the sniper, more importantly, working with the team, bringing those vibes with the bucket hat, dude. Come on, you can't dispute the bucket hat vibes.